Welcome to the Daily HiFi podcast. We do this every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. My name is Chana. With me today, we've got Mr. Joe and Tell. What is going on, Joe?
What's up? What's up? Damn, you're getting jacked over there.
Who, me?
Damn.
You should have seen my did you see my video? I'm like
getting,
this AVR is heavy. I'm like, oh.
getting
Maybe
vascular.
I'm not working out enough. What's that?
You know what that is? Getting vascular.
Getting vascular? I don't know.
Yeah. Like when your veins start popping out.
Oh, is that happening? I don't know.
I don't know. Should hope so.
Yeah, I mean something's happening. That's all I know. Something is happening.
That's good.
I feel good more than anything else, like having like a routine.
Mm-hmm.
I
got you. So what's up to the folks in the chat? Yo Moma.
Yo Moma.
And then Reverend Slim. But yeah, he's the first Daily HiFi Crew member. So you see that little logo next to his name.
Yep.
What's up, Wendell? Victor Boyd. Who else here? Clinton, Brentwood, CSO, K-Man. What's up? All right. So what do we got going on today? What's new with you?
I put out a video about my AI video and I got some very interesting comments.
Yeah? Like what?
They're like all over the place. They're completely polar opposites. Right? Someone just put unsubscribed. I was just like, whoa.
All right.
Some people like Karch and them were saying like, oh my god, this is so cool. You were saying something about the hands.
No, I always count the fingers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
because that's hard for AI to do.
It's actually getting quite good. Of course, yeah. I try. I know sometimes there's like some weird things happening, so I just cut that part out, right? I'm not yeah.
That's confusing
right now. Way more real than AI is messing up.
I'm sure that's using our information right now to improve. So this is how
they're using us as models.
Yes.
I think it's interesting that some people actually think it's cool. Some people think it's the end of everything. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned it very well could be, sure. I mentioned, if I have a song, I want to make a music video, I can now do it without spending all this money and also time, because it makes this stuff relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Then someone said, well, AI will then replace you as the one writing the song. And that's totally true. But when you look at like, dude, if I wanted to make $1,000 in 1 month, I would have to have 300,000 streams of that song on like a platform. 300,000, right? Every month. Mm-hmm. So like there's literally no money in music, at least the way it is now, unless I'm going out and playing shows, selling merch, right? Those kinds of things. And until AI figures that out, I can still perform places.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit sick, as you can tell. Like I'm a little stuffy.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's funny. I had to take some Sudafed the other night just to be able to, to sleep, because it was just I was so congested. And that stuff kind of keeps you up. It's a stimulant, right? Mm-hmm. And I was having like crazy dreams about AI. Seriously, you want to know what it was? What? It was like as if I was calculating stuff in my head. But like that I was part of AI. You know what I mean? Like I was becoming more like it. Like I was starting to think.
You're becoming like the machine.
Yeah, I was becoming more like the machine. So maybe that's what's gonna happen. Maybe we're just gonna integrate, where instead of having to even bust out your phone or type, you just think about like, hey, what's the question? What's the answer to this? And then you can access your AI assistant through your thoughts.
Yeah. There's actually this. I saw this really cool video. Here it is. androids, something about some futuristic android thing, and what you explained was like in the first few. I'm trying to fast forward right here. All right, check this out. No, this one. Look at this, like that. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. Just integrated.
Yeah, right.
Whatever that's called. Is that
this is like this says android, so cyborg, android,
that's singularity. Is that what we're talking about? I have no idea. I don't know about this stuff, but I was thinking, like, why would AI want to be like us? We're stupid. Like, we're biological. Like, we die. You know what I mean? We're slow to remember, and then our memory's not even good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I try to remember something from before, my brain's gonna skew that thing. It's like not perfect. So is that a benefit? I don't know. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I feel like the way I see AI right now is just it's the best tool that we've ever invented. Like one of the best tools, right? We had fire, we got the wheel, we had the internet, and now this thing is just like very useful tool.
I heard this clip on TikTok about AI talking to this person about, did we invent AI, or has AI always been there, but now we are just able to see it or experience it now? Has it always been there? Right?
Maybe that's what it is.
Who knows?
Maybe that's what it is.
I'm having a hell of a lot of fun with this AI. I think it's pretty cool. But that's me. Let me just go ahead.
King says we are better than AI. AI is right now inbreeding. It's learning from itself. I don't know about that, because a lot of times I'll ask it some very technical questions about audio, and sometimes it's just straight wrong. Like, it'll give me the wrong answer. And so I'll start to kind of correct it. And I'm wondering, like, am I just feeding this thing all the correct answers? Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah. Next time somebody else asks the question, maybe it'll give the answer that I gave to it. So I don't know. Yeah. I know the show's not about AI, but we always kick it off just talking about random stuff that we're into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Where is this? This is, if you didn't catch my video, this is kind of like what I made, this little music video about Burning Man and that kind of stuff. I even got like
what was your prompt, though? What was your prompt? Was it like, I don't see any, like, there's hardly any dudes. There's just a bunch of chicks.
That's right. It's just DJs and hot chicks.
Hot chicks.
That's look. There's some dudes in this one. Right. There's my DJ guy.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's it honestly was just fun for me to kind of do that and make the song and actually have like some input. And I could have changed a few things, but it's an interesting time. There's the coolest thing I actually saw was this 4-minute movie film type thing, right? Obviously, you know it's AI. Like, the character's like all blue with blue hair, the main character. But damn, they had like planes flying around. I hit up the dude and asked, like, hey, can I do an Atmos mix of this? Because that would be very, very cool. You actually can't use the word bikini.
Yeah, that's what you typed in right there, right?
No, you can't use the word bikini.
What?
Yeah. You'd be surprised at the event. You can't use the word bikini. Anything that has, anything saying sexy or seductive. You can't do anything. It's all like, it's all. I have
your workaround with Burning Man.
Right. That was the thing. Right, yeah.
Same thing, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them here in the comments, and we will star them and do our best to answer them at the very end. If you have something that's like a pressing question that you want answered right away, super chats definitely help, just because it pops out and notifies us.
Yeah.
But we'll try. Let's see here. I have some topics of discussion. Normally, we kind of just jump all over the place, and we're supposed to cut these up and do daily clips, but I don't think that's gonna happen for a while, right? You know, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We basically, I want to do it, but I have to make it very clear cut as far as like what the topics are.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I'm going to use AI.
Because you're going to use AI.
Okay. AI has it can't follow us. Our discussions are just like
yeah, too much. Wendell was here, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, Wendell. So Wendell asked a question regarding my newest video. Oh, I put out the video of me unboxing the Onkyo TX-RZ30, and I did it kind of like an ASMR thing. It was all like with the packaging, and then I showed the remote. It was quick. I didn't even talk. It was great. But then I went into the menu, and when I went into the user interface, the web user interface, by the way, thank you, Michael, for letting me know about that. One of the things you got to was the crossovers section of the AVR. And so I was saying, you know, how you can get a more accurate crossover using the spatial audio calibration toolkit. And so Wendell was asking, how do we do that?
Okay.
So basically, let me share my screen here because I have one of the files open. Basically, what you're going to do here, Wendell, and anybody watching, is you're going to go and turn your subwoofer off and put your speaker to full range. In this instance, I chose the center speaker. And I'm going to hit play here. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to call it out. And then we're going to play tone. It's going to play tones all the way down. Can you hear that? Is it going?
A little bit. You can hear it slightly.
Okay. So it's going to go all the way down to 16 hertz in increments, these increments here. And what you're supposed to do is just kind of listen to see where you don't hear the tone anymore. If you don't hear the tone at 40, then you might want to cross it over at 50. Now, again, your AVR is going to determine where you can actually cross it over at. Some of them will give you increments of 10 hertz. Some of them will only give you like 40, 60, 80. So if yours says 60 and you can kind of hear it at 50, then cross it over at 60, right? If you hear the tone at 30, try 40. It all depends, right? It depends on your system and how it's set up. And so you can do this for every one of your speakers. And the most important ones are which ones, Joe?
I would say your LCR. Is that what you're talking about?
I was going to say the height channels.
Wait. What are you talking? What are you saying? Crossing over what?
Crossing. So the crossover points on the height channels is the hotly debated topic, right? Is it 100 hertz? Is it 120? Is it 150?
Oh, I see what you mean. You're saying because those are usually smaller speakers,
right?
So you're gonna not want to drive them too hard.
Exactly, or put too much low information into those speakers. So then you can actually listen to the speakers going through and figure that out. So Wendell, that's how you would choose your crossover point per speaker. Turn off your subwoofer and set all your speakers to full range, and then run each of those and listen and see. That's it.
Yeah, I typically like to listen to it at a decent volume, like about like where I'd normally listen to movies. And it's not when I can't hear the sound, it's when there's a significant drop. Sure, you'll hear all the tones, doot, and then it's like there's a significant drop. You might
that's kind of that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Significant drop, yeah.
Also, it's handy for, you can still use that for the LFE. Sometimes you're able to find like where you have nulls too. Like you'll hear a tone, it'll go through all of them. Maybe your system is good down to 16 hertz, but for some reason 80 sounds low, right? You're like, oh, wonder why that's low. So of course, all this stuff can be done using measurements, but a lot of folks don't want to do measurements, right? It might be a hassle for them to take out a mic, but it's pretty easy to put this in, listen, and get a very good idea of what's happening. And if you need more precision, we do have sweeps also. So if you wanted to use a mic, do a sweep, and then you could pinpoint exactly where it is. Yeah.
But you want to know, if you play that LFE track on the crossover points, you turn your subwoofer on, you cross over all your other speakers, and you play that LFE track, woo, and you turn it up, man, you will start hearing your house do some funny thing.
What it's also useful for is when you turn on your sub, and let's say you have it crossed over at 80, what you want to hear is a smooth transition.
Yep.
So when it goes from 120, 100, 80, whatever, 60, whatever it's doing, 40, I don't remember the numbers, but it should sound like a smooth transition, and it shouldn't sound like main speaker, subwoofer, right?
Right.
It should be hard to tell that there is a transition. It should be nice and smooth. Definitely, you don't want a hole in the response there, because that means that you are not getting proper summation and something is out of phase, right? That's your main speakers are fighting your sub. So it's a quick way to check. And yeah, I'm appreciating it more and more, because I realize not everybody's going to do what I do. Take out a mic every minute to measure something. It's just a pain. So yeah. Another thing regarding the toolkit, I have a note here. So Reverend Slim, he just got some new height speakers, and he was talking about how he uses, I mean, he's the one who kind of made it up. He's the reason why we did it on the toolkit, where he uses test tones on adjacent speakers to really focus in and figure out whether something's imaging properly between the two speakers, right? Now, this is different than typical time alignment, because if you time align with, let's say, Odyssey or Dirac, even though you're doing multiple seats, the multiple seats are more for the frequency response. When it does the time alignment, I'm pretty sure for all of them, it's time aligning to a specific spot. So that's with one mic in one position, right? Well, we have two ears, so that's actually needs two positions to even do a main listening position, right? Because then you're compromising. If it's just one, then it's maybe you're going to put it like in between your head, right? But that slight difference there is detectable, right? So yeah, Reverend Slim says Odyssey does it from the first mic position. I believe Dirac does as well. And so what is that difference? Let's say mic is here, right? Versus your ear is here, your other ear is here. If I have a surround speaker that's maybe, 5 feet away, that's enough of a difference for us to be able to tell, right? It doesn't seem like it would be a huge difference, but there is. And so when you do a calibration with Dirac or Odyssey, any of these, it's going to align to a single position, but that's not exactly what we hear. So you may find that using our toolkit, you may have to make some slight adjustments because our ears are different, right? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's always important to not trust your ears, but like verify with your ears, right? Like what the mic is saying is true. Like that's about where it's aligned to a single mic, but that's not how we work. We have two ears. So typically the correct way to do it would be you align the left speaker or whatever speaker is on the left to your left ear, because that's the one that it arrives at first. So your front left arrive at your left ear first. Your center speaker, if you're right in the middle, should arrive at both ears at the same time, right? But notice the difference, like at the angle from here to here, right? Let's say the speaker's pretty far. It goes to your left ear. That's going to be slightly different path than straight ahead, right? Towards a single mic. So those small differences, I think, can be the difference of whether the image snaps into place or whether it sounds kind of in the right area, but maybe somewhat diffuse, right? So like in car audio, the thing is like trying to get a solid center image, right?
Yeah.
Have it snap into place. And when you adjust the delays, I might be adjusting very tiny increments, right? But when you're listening to pink noise or somebody's voice, there's a certain point where it kind of goes out of phase a little bit, out of phase the other way, and then one point where it's just like that's the perfect setting, right? It snaps directly in the place. And the thing about our hearing that's kind of crazy is that we are able to detect very small differences in delays, because the distance from here to here, that's a very small amount of delay, right? But we're used to using that to tell where something is coming from, right? So even though it's like 6.5 inches from here to here, that is going to be the difference whether something snapped into place. So what does that have to do with our toolkit? Our toolkit has a section specifically for that, where you play tones from adjacent speakers and you want to see if it's imaging directly in between them. And you can make small adjustments to the delay, and you'll find some small adjustments can make a big difference in imaging. Let me know if you guys have tried this. You know, anybody out there who has our toolkit. I know Reverend Slim definitely has tried that.
I think he's tried everything.
Yeah, he's tried. But I'm wondering if you guys have noticed that. Have you used that to kind of like really dial in your imaging? Yeah. Hey, are we gonna do any sales or no? I know we got something coming up. No?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be posted on the Instagram. Is everybody following the Instagram?
Do we have a link? Go ahead and throw a link up. Yeah. We should do a sale for what's the next holiday coming up? St. Patrick's, is that?
Oh, it's March, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do something for that. There's a link right there. Instagram.com/spatial group. So yeah, stay up to date there, because that's usually where we post it. You know, sometimes we'll have a sale, but we didn't make a video, so you may miss it if you don't see it there. So Siesta says April Fool's sale, 15% more expensive. Oh, I like that idea.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. Can you even do that, like a discount code that's the opposite?
Yeah.
Negative.
I don't know. I don't think so, because it's always off. It's priced off your order.
That's
so
hilarious.
Negative percentage.
Just put a negative. See what
Wendell's
happens.
still waiting on his merch.
Wendell, I think you should cancel that, because I don't know what's going on with that. The clothing stuff for Daily HiFi is not like, it's just a shirt company that you kind of like, that's tied into YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have certain shirt companies, and we just uploaded our logos. But if it's not arriving, I would cancel it. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You know, you should be getting your stuff. If you order something, you should get your stuff. But just keep in mind, it's not something that we run. So, here's a question. Because I was listening to Audio Unleashed podcast with Brent Butterworth and Dennis Berger. I always listen to them. I like what they have to say. And they brought up a topic about, I guess, this guy, Darko Audio. I don't know if you've heard of his stuff, but he does like a lot of audiophile stuff. But he wrote an article, I guess, about room treatment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, he kind of said that the room is the most important thing. The most important thing. You know, I've heard people kind of say something like that. But the argument that they made was, no, the room is not the most important thing. The most important thing is having an accurate speaker first. Right? And their argument was that, hey, if I know your voice, I know Chana's voice, right?
Yeah.
I know what you sound like. If we're in a cave and it's super reverberant, I still know it's you.
Yeah.
Right? If we're out in the field and it's pretty much anechoic, I still know that that's you. Right? Like, my brain is smart enough to kind of figure out what the room is doing versus what the accuracy of your voice is. But if all of a sudden, let's say a speaker was reproducing your voice, but very inaccurate, there's going to be a point where I'm going to say, like, I think that's you. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's not reproducing your voice accurately. Let's say if there's a big scoop out where your voice vocal region usually is, right? That could mess it up, right? So, what do you think? Would you rather have a good speaker or good speakers in a bad room, or bad speakers in a really good room?
I mean, at this point, are we gonna just argue that like you have to have ears, right?
Yeah.
The most important part of audio is the hearing.
You have to have ears.
Right?
Yeah, so what would you rather have though?
Bad speakers in a good room?
That's a question for you guys in the chat too. Would you rather have really good speakers in a bad room or really bad speakers in a good room? Which one do you think will lead to a better or worse experience? So Miles says, if the room isn't treated, then it doesn't matter what speaker is in there. So does that mean that you're picking bad speaker in a very good room?
Bad speaker, good room. Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it.
Go ahead. You got it. Good speakers in a bad room or bad speakers in a good room? I want to hear what you guys have to say. For me, good speakers all day. Like, I mean, that's a pretty simple, right? If somebody's awesome at playing a violin, right? I just use that as an example. Let's say guitar, whatever. Really awesome playing guitar, right? Are you not going to be able to enjoy them because you're in a
bad room?
In a bad room.
And what do we mean by bad room? I mean, this was a bad room that I'm in without the room treatment. So
it definitely improves intelligibility if you have a good room, right? Good speakers in a good room is the best, right?
Right.
So I'm saying that there's a trade-off, right? And so, yeah, Scruff Kingman says define good speakers. Good speakers, let's say they're extremely accurate. So if you record a sound with it, you record somebody using a calibrated mic, and then you play it through those speakers, what you get coming out sounds like what went in, right? Let's see.
Flat shot.
Gowron says bad speakers will never sound good in any room.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. So says good speaker in a bad room. I have a shitty non-treated room with decent speakers and I love them. By the way, my room treatment is ordered. Yay.
Hey, there we go. I mean, I've listened to lots of speakers in different environments. Like some of my rooms aren't good rooms, you know. They don't have a ton of room treatment, just normal stuff like a couch and a rug.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, we don't need either. We have AI now.
Yeah, so the reason why that topic interested me is because what Magic Beans does. Did you even answer? Did you answer? Okay,
no,
what's your answer?
I would prefer the better speakers.
Better speakers. Okay.
Yeah. If I really want a good situation, I'll get up real close.
Yeah.
Where the room doesn't matter.
Let's see here. Let's answer some of these. So Scruff Kingman says, but would not a reproduction of that sound different in each room so the room will dictate what we hear? Yes, it'll sound different, but you also have to consider that our brain can differentiate and it can understand what the room is doing to the sound. That's how we're able to know who's talking, even if it's in a, you know, you're in a loud environment, all this stuff is happening, or maybe there's a ton of reverb. You can still tell because you automatically subtract the effects of the room. Not that it's not annoying, right? If you're in a very reverberant room, it's still annoying, but you're able to kind of ignore it somewhat. And that's why, if you ever notice this is a weird phenomenon, but like if you're in a reverberant space, right, for a while, or a loud area, you kind of just start filtering that out. But then if you talk to somebody over the phone and you're not in that environment, it just sounds crazy. Like I can't even hear you. I can't hear what you're saying because you're not in that same room. You're not able to do what we're talking about, which is ignore the sounds. You know?
Right.
Let's see here. Ole says, well, I don't want to listen to reverb all day and either only listen to music on phone speakers, so hard to pick one or the other. Yeah, I think what they found to be true is that you're able to ignore a lot of the reverb. Like when I first moved into this house, it was extremely reverberant because we didn't have our furniture in, and it was just like, oh my man, so echoey in here. But after a while, you just get used to it, right? And what I wanted to mention is that that's what Magic Beans does. It fixes the speaker's response, right? Because if you're a DJ, you're using some PA speakers that has DSP that's going to fix that speaker's response. If you're using studio monitors, they have DSP to make that as neutral as possible. But in home theater, most of the time, we're using passive speakers. So they're using a passive crossover, to try to make that response as good as possible. But really, if we utilize DSP, we can really make that response very good. So we can make that speaker more like an active speaker. And that's what I argue for, is I call Magic Beans speaker response correction. We're making your speaker sound as good as it can possibly sound, versus the other stuff, most room correction is trying to really correct the room. And I don't even know if that's truly possible. To treat the room, you really have to just treat the room. Like you have to put up treatment. Now that might change with Dirac art. It's a little bit different, but most room correction that people have currently is trying to address the room, even though it can't address a lot of those issues. In the bass, yeah, you can tone down, where there's a peak. You can't fill a null, so it's just funny to me that a lot of the room correction is really just trying to fix effects of the room, even though there's better ways to fix the room,
right,
with actual treatment. So yeah, that's my argument for Magic Beans. Fix the speaker. That's the one thing you can definitely fix. Make that speaker as good as can possibly sound. So anyway, Eric Curlin, what's up, Eric Curlin?
While we're on the topic of Magic Beans,
yeah,
should I do a video about Magic Beans on this new RZ30?
If people want it, if that's what people want.
Somebody asked about it in like the last one of these last week, I think. I mean, it's just Dirac, right? It's just like everybody's going to be using Dirac.
Well, this is a good jump off point to the next topic.
Okay.
Larry Stugel says he recently picked up the RZ50. Let's see here. Jamaica Social says he saw the RZ30 video earlier today, and he owns the RZ50. How does the independent sub out sound so far? So it's interesting. I think we brought it up last time that there's actually an issue with the implementation of Dirac Live Bass Control.
Yes.
Okay, so if the LBC worked, so I'm going to refer to some of the stuff that we found, Brent, because Brent is in our Discord group for Magic Beans, and he quickly tested it. And what did you find? Maybe it's better if you say it. And at the same time, I think I have the screenshot. Yeah, here it is. So this is what was posted recently from Onkyo. Boom, boom. Says they have a new update for the RZ50, fixed an issue where no sound is outputting Bluetooth playback from a phone. And the one that most people were really concerned about, it says that it fixed an issue where Dirac filters were not applied correctly with certain speaker configurations. And what that refers to is it was just applying the crossover to the next speaker in the line.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy. Like if I set a crossover for left, I expect it to actually send it to the left.
Instead it went to the right or something like that. Yeah.
The right, and the next one over.
But did you see what Brent said? For the Onkyo people, Onkyo released firmware update today for the RZ50 and 70, and it didn't fix a thing with DLBC.
Yikes. Yeah, he
So
said same results. So he took some measurements. Still the same one-off bug, right? The one speaker off. Oh man, I hope they can get that working. You know, because Dirac is definitely awesome. I guess the issue is not with Dirac Live; it's specifically with Dirac Live bass control. So, oh man, if anybody out there also has the RZ50 who has also applied this update, can you let us know if you're still experiencing the same issue? Yeah. What is Larry saying? Yeah, go for it. Magic beans on the Onkyo RZ series.
Well, you know what's funny? Kelvin asked me to do Dirac Live from start to finish. So I did that part, but I'm at the very end where we have to do the curve, and I'm like, is this now a Magic Beans video? Like, where do I start the Magic Beans video? Like, because I have to do the Dirac Live video and then add that one thing in.
Yeah. Well, Dirac for the most part, or Magic Beans with Dirac works pretty much the same on any platform. If you do it on HTTP1, it's going to be this kind of the same process, right? You're just importing the target curve. So let's see here. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Let's move on. So hopefully Onkyo gets that right. Here's something I wanted to touch on. A lot of people have been asking about all pass filters because I've been mentioning all pass filters. So I figured it'd be a good time for me to kind of just explain it.
Yeah. What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All pass filters. What are they? And when are they useful? And so let me see. How can I say this? Because I'm still learning, right? Hopefully I don't say anything that's incorrect, but I think I got it down pretty good. Basically, a lot of times you'll have the speaker properly aligned in time, right? But the phase somewhere doesn't match, right? And so you don't want to screw up the phase somewhere where it does match, but you want to match other areas where it doesn't match.
Okay.
And so you can't just flip the polarity because that changes everything, the phase response everywhere. If you change the delay, that changes the phase response everywhere. What sometimes all you want to do is just align the phase in a certain region, right? And so I have an example here using the JL Tune software. So you guys can download this for free actually and start playing around with the they have target curves there. Yeah.
Free, you say?
It's free, but they charge you if you actually want to use it for measurements. So I have them. Yeah, this is more for theory. It's more for
free,
theory.
but it's free, but okay.
This is more for theory to kind of get an idea what things do, right? So up here in orange, what do I have here? I have like the mids and highs, like the theoretical mids and highs for my vehicle, right? So these cut off at 200 hertz. Here, let's get that banner off the screen so you can see this down here. Can you take the banner off?
Oh. Coming.
Yeah. Okay, so this in orange is my mid-range tweeter, or mid-range and tweeter, right? So they cross over at 200 hertz with a 24 dB per octave slope. And that's what's in orange right here. So this is the impulse response for it, right? That's the timing aspect. And down here in orange is the phase response of that, the electrical phase response. So in a perfect world, that's how it would look, right? Now in purple, this is the phase response of the 6x9s that they have to cross over to, right? So I need my mid-range and tweeter to cross over to the 6x9s. And so the 6x9s, let's see here, those are set to go from 80 hertz to 200 hertz. and they have 24 dB per octave slopes on both ends. Now you can tell, looking at these, they are not aligned, right? So what can I do to align this? Maybe I can, change the slope, right? Until they align. Okay, but I don't want to do that. Right? Okay. I want it to stop at 200 because I don't want it to have that mid-range to have too much bass, right? Okay. I can change the crossover type. So 12, you see how it changes the phase, right? But I want to keep 24 because that offers the best summation. I can change the delay, right? But watch what happens when I change the delay. The impulse response up at top starts moving away from 0. So 0 is like the timing reference, right? That's like, it happens instantly. But if I start moving the delay, as you could tell, it starts moving off to the right. Kind of makes sense, right? But it does change the phase. Or I can change the polarity. Oh, maybe that. Oh, maybe. So let's say I'm crossing over at 200. So I really want it to align here especially, right? So I'm using all the tricks that we normally would use. Delay, changing the polarity, changing the crossover point. But here's the other thing to notice. Let me take this off for a second and go to RTA. So this is the response. Let me move this down a little bit. In orange of the mids and highs, and then in purple is the 6x9. And so if I change this, it's changing the frequency response of this, right? You can see that happening, but it's also changing the phase. So if I were to cross it over at maybe around 317, it starts to kind of align a little bit better. But I don't want to do that. I want 200 hertz. That's what I want. So my point being that if I use an all-pass filter, what it'll do is it will just change the phase response here. So let me go back to the impulse response. So this is the frequency where it starts to rotate the phase. Right? So I can change where that is. But notice that in orange, it's not changing where the impulse response starts and stops.
Right. So that's good, right?
The reason it's called an all pass is because it also doesn't change the frequency response, right? So if I'm changing this, look, the response up on top is staying the same.
Change. So that you can change things independently. Is that what you were saying?
You can change the phase independently at a certain point.
Okay.
All right. And so in this case, if I wanted these two to align here at 200 hertz, what I would need to do is maybe move it up around here. Boom. So around 92 hertz. And then this is the cue, how wide it is, right? So how wide of an area it affects. So if I go like this, so around that amount, somewhere around there. Now the highs are phase aligned. The mids and highs are phase aligned with the 6x9s. And it didn't change my frequency response. It didn't change where the impulse response started. Right? So it does, you can tell that it does it does something to this. You can tell, oh, that's polarity. It changes it slightly, right?
Yeah.
But the start and stop point stays the same. Can I zoom in on this anymore? No, that's it. But polarity, if you change the polarity, it inverts that, right? The spike goes down instead of up. So anyway, that's what an all-pass filter can do. Unfortunately, a lot of the home stuff does not have that. So if you have Odyssey, it doesn't do this. Dirac Live Bass Control can do this. It does do this automatically. So you don't even have to know. That's kind of what it's doing for your subs. It's using all pass filters to align the phase. And the mini DSP now also allows you to do that through the app itself. Let's see if I have mini DSP. I don't know if I could. Maybe I can do it. Let's see here. Stop this screen share. I think I can pretend I have. Okay, here we go. So I can pretend we have a mini DSP DDRC. No, what is this? Mini DSP 2x4 HD. Okay, so this is just a simulation since we're in one. Just kidding. So if you go in here, let me see if I can remember how to do this. If I click on PEQ, and then you click on, let's see here. I wonder if you can just do it right here. Yeah, you can just, you don't even have to click on advanced. You just click on all pass. And so you can actually listen to your system. And if you have a way to look at phase, which in real time, most people don't because you need a dual FFT software to do it. So the JL Audio Max in this tune software, it's dual FFT, meaning it's playing pink noise, and because it knows the source timing, it can listen through the mic and figure out what the phase is, right? So you need this. It's called a loop back. But there's a free software also called Open Sound Meter that allows you to do it, and so you could use it on an iPad with a U mic, and it has an internal loopback. So basically, what you need to do is be able to look at the phase trace live, right? Not like REW where you take a measurement and then you do something, make a change, and then look at it again. This is doing it in real time when you're using a dual FFT. So Open Sound Meter, check that out. But yeah, this is kind of the same thing as what I just did in the tune software. See, you adjust the frequency and the Q. That's pretty much it, right? And you can see the type of thing that I was showing you in the tune software. And so I actually asked SVS, like, hey, can you guys implement this? Because for the most part,
Really?
if something has PEQs, that is that's an IIR filter, right? And if you can do PEQs, it can theoretically also do all pass filters because they're just a form of it's a biquad, right? And it's just a different type of filter, right? And my argument is that's actually the most useful thing that they could implement for subs, right? Is the parametric EQ, pretty much everything does that. If you have Odyssey, if you have Dirac, you can adjust the EQ of the subs. But it would be cool to have at least, right now they have 3 of them on their latest sub, SVS I'm talking about. They have 3 PEQs. Maybe you could use 1 or 2 of them for all pass filters if you needed to, right? So in my living room, I have 2 subs, and if I have them, they're identical subs. If I have them set to the same delay, same everything, same frequency response, I will get some kind of cancellation. But it's not all the way. It's like it's aligned here, but cancellation at this frequency. And so using the mini DSP, like I'm showing you guys, I was able to rotate the phase on one of them. Actually, what you do is you actually make one of them worse to match the other one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you align the phase on those, and the bass is crazy. It's way better. Remember how we were playing a good track to test to see if you have an issue in your bass is Doing It Right?
Yep.
Because it's doing all kinds of like bass hits, but in different frequencies.
Yeah.
And sometimes like one will hit, other ones will hit super hard, and another one will be like, oh.
The lowest one will be like, it's just not even, sometimes you just hear it a little bit, but it's not even there. Yeah.
No, mine was the low one was no problem, was the higher one.
Really?
Is hit it, and it's like, oh, where's that? This sounds weird, right? And it's because I was getting a cancellation at that point. So that's it. That's all pass filters in a nutshell. Do anybody have any questions about that? Show me the Tone Winner PEQ simulator. Is there a thing? Is there such a thing? Yeah. So hopefully I didn't lose too many people with that. I haven't seen a ton of videos on all pass filters and how they work. But the use case is basically if you don't want to change your timing, you don't want to change your frequency response, you just need to rotate and change the phase at a certain frequency. That's exactly what an all pass filter is designed to do. So, Wendell says, I'm out of questions, but I want to say thank you to both of you. You've helped me immensely in my home theater journey. Glad we can help.
We appreciate you, man.
What else? I have any other questions? Oh, okay. Here, I'll answer this question now. I think a very so I just recently reviewed and uploaded my video on the Wiim amp versus the Wiim amp Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And the main difference is that the Wiim amp Pro has that PFFB, the post filter feedback. And
I don't know what does that do?
A lot of times with certain Class D amps, it will have like it'll change the frequency response depending on the speaker that you connect it to, especially in the high frequencies. So have you ever heard like audiophiles say, oh yeah, you know, I don't like Class D because it sounds harsh or something like that, or the treble sounds a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
You've heard people say that, right? And a lot of times like, stupid audiophiles, right?
Silly audiophiles. Tricks are for kids.
Guys. But you know what? They're right. They're absolutely right. And it's measurable. They are absolutely right that some Class D, especially like the older implementations, a lot of the high-end stuff doesn't have this issue, right?
Right.
If you have some nice high-pec stuff, like they figured this out a long time ago, right? But on some of the stuff like the Wiim amp, they're less expensive, you know, more budget stuff. They did have some of these issues. And so here is a measurement. I have the Arendal in green, right? Arendal 1723 Bookshelf S connected to the OG Wiim amp, right? Then I have the same speaker connected to the Wiim amp Pro. And when I'm zoomed out, this is typically how I look at frequency response in this scale here, like a 50 dB scale. And you can tell like, okay, the green one has a little bit more treble right here. Like
a little bit, yeah.
That's 2 dB, right? That's not small. But if you start zooming in, it starts to look crazy. Like, oh man, that's a lot, right? But it's only really
that goes to show you, like,
right,
like the scale of which you're looking at the graph really can be interpreted. Like things can be interpreted the wrong way if you're not using like the proper scaling on these things.
Yeah,
that's
a lot of
the thing that always messes me up.
They're like this, like, oh man, my frequency response is perfect. I'm like, can you zoom in a little bit? Okay, so yeah, this is PFFB is the one in purple. Now keep in mind, I'm very zoomed in, right? Very zoomed in. So just to show off the little issues. The thing I found interesting is I was measuring some like small, like little tiny narrow dips in the one with PFFB, and the other one did not have those dips. Now, again, if I zoom out the way I normally look at the thing, right, there's that. And also, I'm wondering, like, if I smooth it using psychoacoustic smoothing, if that will even show up. So we hear like this, psychoacoustic smoothing. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So we would probably not really hear that too much, right? Because it's too narrow, right? It's very small area. Versus here, this is a large area, right? So psychoacoustic smoothing, how would we hear it? It'd be more like that. So those are kind of like small things that you see in a measurement that I would rather not have, but they're there. So that's the sound of the Arendal connected to the OG Wiim amp. And the question really was, can I hear the difference? So I set up on an A/B tester where I could just switch back and forth, right? And so I'd close my eyes, switch back and forth. So it's kind of like, I don't know which one it's on currently. And then I'd try to figure out, all right, when am I on the one on the Wiim amp, original Wiim amp versus the Pro, right? Because the Wiim amp original one has a treble boost and it's super easy. Like I could get it every single time. Like I would, if you gave me like $100 for every time I got it right, I'd have some money. It's easy because it's only 1.5, 1.6 dB or whatever it is, but over a pretty wide range, you can hear the pink noise go like shh, 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 shh. So, and with music too. So that's what's also interesting is with music, I could also hear a difference. Certain tracks, especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, PFFB definitely worth something. The other thing that is kind of crazy though is here's the Sound Artist LS35A. So this is a different speaker, and it had less of an effect. This is a 11 ohm speaker. So the effect was more here in this bass, right? But the one with PFFB also kind of had an issue there. It wasn't perfect either, right? Ideally, you'd want this to be perfectly flat. So let's see here. Let me zoom out one more time. And the other thing I found out was that you can actually EQ out the issues with the one that doesn't have PFFB. So this is, again, in green, the OG Wiim amp, in purple, the new one. And then this is the filter that I applied. So Magic Beans automatically figured out, okay, it should do this type of filter. And the end result was the red. So actually, if we're talking about a straight line, the EQ'd one is more on that straight line than even the one with PFFB. So just to let people know, if you don't have the latest and greatest and you don't have something with PFFB, you should probably use Q to fix some of those issues. So that's it. That's all I got.
Subhuman has 821's got a great question. How many speakers can you fit in a 20 by 12 living room? Asking for my single thread. Sure, Subhuman. Asking for your single thread. Sure. I'm in a 16 by 13 and I have 15 speakers. This isn't a living room though. I guess it all depends, man.
Well, if you can do in-wall speakers, you can have as many speakers as you want, I guess. But if they're going to stick out, yeah. 12 by 20. Depends on how big your couch is, too. If you just have like 2 seats, because it's a matter of just like walking around them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's actually the issue. It's like, are they in the way of your walking path? I mean, the subs, as long as you have the subs in the corner, yeah, I think you can get a good amount in there. But even the main issue is really like stuff in the way, right? So there are surround speakers. Usually it's the surround speakers because the front ones are usually near a wall, but it's the side and rear surrounds that become issues. So let's just say the side surrounds for right now. They have side surrounds that are like the Arendal one that I'm using, where it's like meant to be on the wall, so it doesn't stick out very far, right? I mean, they're pretty huge; they kind of stick out, but not as much as like if you had a bookshelf speaker, you'd probably need it on one of those mounts, and so that brings it out further. So the speaker might be like, I don't know, 1.5 feet away. So you take 1.5 feet away from each side. If your room's the narrow one, right? Now you got to take away 3 feet from 12, right? Your room becomes 9 feet now, right? As far as walking path. So it might be a good idea. Some people can, if you can do a in-wall for the side surrounds, it should be good to go.
So says 7.4.6 easily.
Yeah.
Subs, 2 seats. Everything is in the way.
Did you see Elan's video on his office home theater? Somebody said in the comments, man, this makes me claustrophobic.
Oh, but yeah, it's pretty. I saw a clip. It's pretty tight, yeah.
Bro, he has. Here, let me bring it up. Let's see. Elan Osborne. So he set up a home theater in his office. I don't know if this is becoming a thing because who's the other guy? Theater at Home. He set up a small home theater, right?
The George guy, yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like a thing now. Like, oh, let's set up a theater.
Tiny home theater. It's cool, man. It's almost like what I had in Mammoth in the studio because like it was just very, very small speakers.
Right? Well, so right now in this room, this is like a 10 by 10. Like it's a small room, right? My office here, small room. But I'm using, I have a 7.1.4.
Yeah.
In here, but the speakers I'm using are those like little the tiny ones, yeah. Right? so it doesn't stick out of the wall too far, right? And also, this is a near field environment. This is for studio use, but just I guess it depends on the size of the speakers, right? So Larry was kind of joking. Answer is Bose Acoustimass, 30 cubes everywhere. And this is close to that, right? These monolith speakers are not as small as the cubes, but they sound a lot better. But let me show you quickly Elan's video here. Let's see. Elan Osborne. Here we go. It's this one here. Let me look at this guy.
Wow. I gotta zoom in here.
That's a lot. That's a lot of speakers in a small space. So yeah, you can do as many as you want. Look at the room treatment and everything. Yeah. Dang. So, this guy's crazy, man. Elan's crazy. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. What else we got?
My room is 9x12 and 5.1 is already a lot. No room for rear surround. Yeah, bedrooms are kind of rough. Like I set up that. I mean, luckily, I had to review a 9-channel AVR, so I moved that to the bedroom, right? And that's because I can't put 2 speakers behind me. Like you can see, I got this one here and this one here on the other side of this box.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. Like you either have room or you don't, and depending on like your couch and all that kind of stuff, all these things play a factor. So you do what you can with what you got.
Are flat speakers not a thing anymore? Like
flat
thin
speaker?
profile?
What does that mean?
Yeah, thin profile speakers. Low profile, like on wall speakers, I think might be.
I mean,
so, monolith MOW1 OW1. See if you can still find these. Let me see. Oh, they're out. Man, what the heck? But something like this. Let me just show you. Get this out of here. Get out of here. They need a button that just accepts all cookies for every site.
Stop asking me.
Yeah. Something like this, right? So I think there was another company who had a low profile. See, look, it's like thin.
Oh, yeah.
But these are the same speakers as the ones that we're talking about.
Yep.
The monolith ones. But it has passive radiators, so it has a little bit more bass.
That helps, especially since they're sealed, right?
Yeah, sealed. Yeah, so look for some on-wall, low-profile on-wall speakers. Who was that other one? Heiko had some too. Heiko. CSO says Klipsch has some on-wall too. Heiko. On-wall. I reviewed these a while back. Heiko on-wall. Let me see if I can find some. Boom, here we go. Present. Check out some of these. Something like this, right? It doesn't have to be these exactly. You see? So it doesn't take so much from your walking path. Yeah. What else we got? We got any more questions? Any starred ones?
Got one. Yo,
okay.
MoMA. Chana, what's your PA speakers? Well, currently my PA speakers of choice, the ones that I own, are the RCF portable line arrays, the Evox J8s. I would kill for a Meyer Sound PA setup. I mean, we were talking about the studio speakers, but man, their stuff flies, and the real magic is in the it's in their live sound stuff. That's where it's at. The RCF aren't bad. I could rock a 150-person party with that, no problem. Indoor, outdoor, not so much. Outdoor, you really need a 15-inch sub.
Really?
Right. Yeah. And then and if the floor is concrete, yeah, you want an 18-inch. right? Because you're not going to get any movement at all, right?
From the
Like
people or from the bass?
from the bass, you know.
So if there's no bass, then there's no movement in the people either, huh?
Well, I don't know. It's just like when you walk up and you're just like you hear the music, but like you're like, where's the impact? You know, like it's harder when it's a concrete floor, man. It's pretty rough. You know, I've been to plenty of warehouse raves and stuff like that where it's just like
I would think concrete would be good. Like,
they have to load it up with these huge bass bins. You need more. You need more. Whereas like if it's just wood, it's like an 18 is like violent.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like if it was like soil, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like you're out in the open. Like if it was ground, I feel like that's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there too. But what I worry about those kinds of events is just the dust on all the equipment. Take me like 2-3 hours to just clean up all the equipment. No, and the cables. I gotta like wipe down every cable, like with with the friggin' like a Lysol wipe. Roll through a whole bottle of Lysol wipes in like 3 hours. Yeah, each thing has its own like issues, you know. So if you had a home theater with regular like carpet with like a wood substructure, right, as opposed to concrete, you're gonna feel a lot more of the bass if you don't have the concrete. And if you do have concrete, you're gonna have to put in more subs to get the same kind of impact. You know. But yeah, like for instance, I went to my friend's thing like a Saturday ago, across the street at my bar here, and it's a concrete outdoor patio thing. And I was just like, "Where's the bass?" And I'm like, "Oh, they don't have a sub and it's concrete." And they were using the QSC K12.12s. Another thing that they were doing was they had a crossover on it at like 125 hertz.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I come up, I'm like, "Hey, dude, there's a crossover on this." And he's like, because it's not his, right? He just comes with his DJ equipment. It's the venues. So I don't know why the venue had it like that. Maybe the venue wanted to make sure nobody blew the speakers because they're like brand new. I don't know.
that's fine.
I don't know. But yeah, I was all trying to figure out what the problem was.
So here's a question from CSO. He says, "How different is Atmos when streamed versus Blu-ray? I know the quality is different, but how much wise is Atmos metadata on DD Plus instead of True HD? I just had an argument about this. Chana, you know about this.
What's that?
You've kind of done experiments with this, right?
What are we talking about?
Streaming Atmos versus Blu-ray True HD, lossless.
You had an argument about this? Well, there's going to be like some sort of compression artifacts in anything lossy, right? Dolby Atmos is delivered in two ways. One is Dolby Digital Plus, that's the lossy version, and the other is Dolby True HD, that's the lossless version. Now, to be fair, both of those are actually derived from the Dolby Atmos master file, which is substantially larger than both. So even with Dolby True HD, you're actually getting something that is compressed. They call it a lossless compression, but you know, I'm just throwing that out there because that's part of it. A lot, I'd say 50-50. I made that video, right, Joe? 50% of the people could tell which one was the lossy and which one was the lossless when we did the A/B on my video. So, honestly, it could just be, you know, oh, hey, I'm watching this movie on a disc. I don't have to turn up the volume as much as if I watch it off of my Apple TV, NVIDIA Shield, Roku Ultra, you know, because just the volume is inherently lower on the output of those devices. That could be it. It could. Some people do say they hear things clearer, but again, this is all subjective, right? Objectively, there's less data. There's less data in the file. Okay. When I pop out a lossy Atmos file, it's like 20 megabytes without any video.
Mm.
When I do the lossless, it's like 800. So, there's a lot of data that's missing. Yeah. So
there's another factor also. I'm just replying to this guy. He says, lossless compression, is this Pied Piper from Silicon Valley?
Silicon Valley, I love that.
Hey, there is such thing as lossless compression, though, right? Isn't FLAC lossless compression? Like when you decompress it, you get back the same exact file, I think, as a wave. But I don't know. Maybe not. I think there is such thing as lossless, though. But to answer the question about streaming versus physical media, what I think a lot of times it has to do more with what happens when it gets to Netflix, right? What does Netflix do to that? Because when you deliver the thing, it has to be like what, minus 16
18
LUFS, minus 18 LUFS, right? And a lot of it is they want to be able to do stuff on their end too. When you send it to Netflix, they have their own processing that happens to the audio too, right? And that might be compression. I don't know what it is, but I've heard stuff that's kind of like from a physical disc, like ripped from a physical disc versus the the version that you'd get on Netflix. And there's an obvious difference, right? It doesn't sound like, oh, am I hearing the difference between compressed and uncompressed? I feel like it's not even that. It's like this one has something done to it and this one doesn't, right? It's like a huge change to the sound. It's almost like, I almost want to say compression, like you guys know what loudness compression is, like when they try to make loud and quiet sounds sound more similar, so you don't have something that peaks up real high, drops down. You kind of like, that's what the compressor is for, right? Kind of make everything sound about the same volume. I kind of feel like it sounds like that with some of the stuff on like Netflix or Disney Plus. I don't know. I would have to let me know what you guys think. Do you guys hear a difference when you hear like a streaming version versus physical disc? Because I think it's more to do with how, like, what happens to the file. I don't think it's necessarily, sometimes it's just like almost like a different mix of it. I don't know. What else? Jamaica says Netflix audio is all over the place. Amazon and Peacock are better. Jeremy says it's the difference between a raw wave file and MP3. If the MP3 is well encoded, you won't hear much difference, but most stream at most is like 192 MP3s. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think I can hear somewhat of a difference when it comes to I can hear a difference kind of in the higher frequencies. But that's if I listen intently. Like I've done that test where you hear like a lossless file versus an MP3 in different like compression, and you could hear in the higher frequencies, but you have to like really be listening for it. Like you really, really be listening. Michael Squires says lossless is not uncompressed. Yeah. Because like what a raw video file is like, they're huge. Raw files are huge for video. But then you have ProRes, which is like less lossy, but you still lost a lot. Putting in the ProRes. And then from ProRes, you might edit in Final Cut in ProRes. And then when you export, now you export to, let's say, H.265. So that's even more compressed. Then if you upload it to YouTube, now it's going to upload it in whatever codec it's going to use, right? So that's even more compressed. So there's a lot of compression happening. There's certain ones that are harder to notice, like going from a raw to ProRes, hard to notice any difference. From ProRes to H.265, pretty hard to notice. From H.265 to YouTube, very noticeable. Like there's a point where there's so much compression that you can tell the difference. What else? Should we get out of here? I should probably get out of here and hang out with the guys in the after show. We have any more questions though? We answered that one. Yeah, I think we talked about a good amount of things today. Hopefully some of it was useful to somebody. I know I kind of nerded out with some of the stuff, but
yeah. Streaming is convenient, just it. Otherwise, I'd watch all my content on disc. Yeah. Maybe it just is. It is convenient, right? Like, I wanted to see what the hullabaloo was about this Wicked movie, so I rented it on Vudu. Or what is it, Fandango now, right? I didn't have to go anywhere. I could hear it in Dolby Atmos, whatever. So
I mean, do you do this also? Like, does it depend on the movie that you're watching? Like, if it's gonna be something that will have good sound, then you try to go get like the physical version or like the highest quality. But if it's like I don't know, like a stupid comedy or something like that, like it's probably not going to matter too much, right?
Yeah, you have to be selective on where you want to spend your money, right? And like, do I want to watch this in the theater too, or do I just want to watch it in here? Because like, I got a 77-inch OLED in here, I got 15 speakers and a bunch of amps. Like, I don't think the iPick here is going to be the greatest choice, because I'm going to end up spending $100 over there with like wine and all this stuff. So like, some food and everything. So I don't know, I don't know.
We have a super chat from how do you say that? Chebrubin. Thank you for the super chat. $5 super chat. And he asked, can I join Magic Bean's Discord and learn from others how to correct the tone winner? Did you not just go there, ask me your question, I'll answer it. I mean, I can answer some of it right now. It's just basically PEQ. So if you have Magic Beans, you export as generic PEQ. The toughest thing is you have to manually enter that in with the remote on the tone winner. That's rough. Like, that's rough. I did it. I'm like half falling asleep. It is not fun to do it on the tone winner. But they don't have anything like Dirac or Odyssey where you can upload to it. Like, here, import the file, transfer it. You gotta go and manually do it. Chana, you feel my pain. You've done it, right?
I did it on the Yamaha, bro.
But how about the expensive one you had?
Oh yeah. I did it on the Act 4, the Muse Act, or the Acuras. Yeah, that took a while and there's no remote control. You got to do it from the like front, which probably a little bit easier actually.
Yeah, that's easier. The remote is rough. You got to scroll through the frequencies. Ugh. Yeah. Did I do any phase correction on the tone winner? So the only phase correction, I was talking about all pass filters earlier. There's no all pass filter. So when I think about phase correction, I'm thinking all pass filter, right? When other people talk about phase, they're usually referring to delay, right? Delaying the timing. So yeah, you can change the delay so it's more phase aligned. I mean, you can always flip the polarity of anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much flip the phase. Yeah. But yeah, message me if you have any other questions that I did not answer right now. Go into the Magic Beans. I don't know if you're using try to use the same name so I recognize you. And I'll do my best to help you out with that. Yeah. It's just get ready. Have a snack. You're going to be sitting there for a while. I was falling asleep, bro.
Have a snack.
I was falling asleep. Where was I?
That's funny.
Yeah. Should we get up out of here or what?
Yeah, we should. All right,
I'll try to make some videos for you guys. I try to cut them up. Before Tim was doing that, but he has some stuff that he's got to take care of, personal stuff. So
yeah,
you know, I'm gonna have to try to do it myself. So if you don't see it, you can blame me. It's my fault because I'm supposed to do it now, but it takes a while. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, everybody. If you want to join the after show, make sure you go to crew.dailyhifi.com and check out what we got going on backstage. Essentially, it's your backstage pass to Daily Hi-Fi. It's fantastic. You should join up. Also, if you want to support the channel, by the way, thank you, Wendell, for trying to go to shop.dailyhifi.com, pick up some merch. Oh, yes. Don't forget to go to spatialcd.com and pick up your spatial audio calibration toolkit.
But quick tip, follow on Instagram, because if you want to know where the deals are at, that's where we post them.
Right.
We're not going to post them on Spatial CD. If you miss it, if you just don't know the deal and you just go to buy it, I don't blame you. Like sometimes people just want something right away, right? Like if somebody orders this, when will we ship it out by? Approximately.
Like the next day.
Okay, so if like I wanted to calibrate, maybe the wife and kids are away for, on vacation, and I want to do it while they're away. I want it right now. I don't care to save, $15, $20 or whatever, right? Then for me, sometimes now is worth it, right? So if that's the case, then just go to spatialcd.com. But if you're the type who wants that deal, you just want the best deal possible, follow our Instagram, because that's where we post the deals.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Like that, right? Isn't there something coming up? There's always going to be a holiday coming up. Hey, Eric
Curlin, that's my boy right there. I know. Hey, I helped him take that photo. You see that photo right there?
What?
See that photo?
What is he doing?
Him and I were taking that photo at my old shop.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he used to be a customer at my old shop. He knows.
All right. Very good. Very good. We did the merch. Okay, if you want to listen to the podcast, go to anchor.fm/Daily HiFi and get your Daily HiFi fix in audio. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
For those of you watching on the replay, make sure to come by and ask your questions live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern, Wednesdays. That's when we have the Daily Hi-Fi. I have the spatial disc. Nice work. Thank you so much. The True Pro Home Cinema Sound. That's how he gets that True Pro Home Cinema Sound. Spatial audio calibration toolkit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right. See you all next week. And we're about to jump into this after show. Have a great night.
See you guys later.